let's get into it. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, so the reason we are all here is to do some exploration about why I assert that creativity is the key to innovation, and it's especially going to be important for you to keep that in mind if you want to level up for 2025. So we have an agenda as we go through these ideas together today, and it looks like the following. I'm going to first give you some context about why creativity is not a nice to have, but it is a must have. It's an essential driver for you to be able to consistently and sustainably innovate over time. And actually, let me just switch around the view. We are talking about why creativity is not a nice to have. It's absolutely essential if you want to consistently and sustainably innovate. Then we're going to have a fun activity, an exercise for you to explore one of the fundamental foundations of maintaining and building your creative capacity, which is your capacity for curiosity. So being curious is a skill that we can hone over time. There's many ways to be curious. We'll explore that in all sorts of ways. And then I'd like to set up for you what your very next step might be after this webinar, if it makes sense for you. And it's this WonderRigor Ideas Lab Bootcamp that we're offering for a half day, 3 hours on February the 6th. And then we'll have some time for Q&A. So I would love it if you dropped into the chat what you're willing to share about what's keeping you up at night. You don't have to, if you could share it in a phrase, maybe 3 words. What's a current challenge is another way for you to think about that. Also, you might want to think about it in terms of what do you want to do better over this next year. So what would you say, if you're willing to share, please, what's keeping you up at night? You can share that on a really global scale. So please share, and I'm going to check the chat. What's keeping you up at night? Let's see, what are people sharing?
Yeah, Rachel says improving our team's productivity. That's a good one.
Good. You're in the right place for that. Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. What else? What else is keeping you up? Lack of a process, of a procedure. Okay. I've got some tools and hacks for you. Industry migration into green power. Ooh, that's a good one. Ideas for training sessions. Love that. Doing more with less. I like that. That's always a goal. Wonderful. AI. Yeah, who isn't being kept up at night a bit by AI? I have some thoughts on that. Yes, please co-sign on people's comments. Love this. Good. Okay, so we have a range of topics and concerns that are keeping people up at night, either around their team, or it could be, very broadly what we see keep surfacing in society. It turns out that actually with all of those sorts of annoying little things that are keeping us up at night that we're finding challenging, building your creative capacity will equip you with the compass to navigate those things. So let me go back to the presentation that I'd like to share. Actually, yeah. Okay, so thank you for sharing those examples of what's keeping you up at night. So if I'm asserting that creativity is one of the key and principal ways, not the only way, but building that creative capacity is a way for you to navigate those challenges, here's what I mean by that. We first need to level set what creativity is. A lot of people, when they think about creativity, they're only thinking about artists, for example, musicians who are talented, or they might be thinking about visual artists, people who are, maybe we have this idealized vision of them whiling away the afternoon with sunlight streaming down on them. Perhaps we think of dancers, people who are trained and skilled and gifted to tell story through movement. Those are all one very specific way to think about creativity. It turns out that artists are exceptional at wrestling with the ambiguity of the creative process. But it's my perspective that to be human means that we're hardwired to be creative. artists have that exceptional ability to dive into creativity, but here's how I define it, that it's your ability to toggle between wonder and rigor to solve problems and produce novel value and generate meaning. And based on some of the issues and concerns that people dropped into the chat, you're talking about what is a way we can generate better value, get better at problem solving, and also maybe on a personal level, identify what's more meaningful to us in our lives. I happen to write deeply about this in a book that was published in 2020 called The Creativity Leap. But this is just a snapshot of what, if you want the cliff notes of the book, that's really where I landed. And what I'm saying here is that whether if you're thinking about creativity as toggling between wonder and rigor to solve problems, and whether you work in financial services, in healthcare, in farming, in agriculture, in law, if you're a plumber, an electrician, if you're a teacher, then you begin to realize that all of these skill sets, all of these domains require this toggling between wonder and rigor to solve problems. And I have experience in working with all of these areas to tell you that every single individual who works in these sectors is incredibly creative when they're doing this toggling between wonder and rigor to solve problems. If you still don't believe me, here's some interesting statistics. So back in 2023, the World Economic Forum published a Future of Jobs report where they elevated creativity from the #3 spot to the #2 spot, saying that creativity would be the #2 in-demand skill in another 2.5 years, right, by 2027. Then Market Splash did some research in 2023 where they revealed that 90% of business leaders believe that creativity is essential for market competitiveness. However, research from Thrive My Way showed that 75% of people believe that they're not living up to their potential creatively. So that's a bit of a problem. There's a gap analysis between us understanding some really credible or institutions saying creativity is a really essential skill, but a lot of us not feeling like we are given the time and the space to build that creative competency, which is why I'm really glad you're here, because soft skills are increasingly hardcore. Soft skills such as actively listening, empathy, curiosity, collaboration, negotiation. These are all the skills that are, you've heard that AI is your co-pilot, right? It's our co-creator. And we need to lean into what I call the imagination era. We need to lean into what makes us uniquely human in this time. So what do I mean by wonder? Wonder is about awe. It's about deep curiosity and audacity. I often remind people that it's really hard to wonder when you're going 80 miles an hour, so you must pause if you really want to deeply wonder. Turns out that Socrates, centuries ago, said that wonder is the beginning of wisdom. And then centuries later, the Jewish theologian and civil rights activist Abraham Heschel wrote that it's wonder, not doubt, which is the root of all knowledge. So if you want to get more knowledgeable and wiser, really get steeped into wonder. Rigor is the dimension of creativity that a lot of times we forsake, but rigor is about discipline and focus and skill mastery and time on task. It turns out that creativity requires rigor as much as it requires wonder. Leonardo da Vinci famously said that any obstacle can be destroyed through rigor. So all the obstacles and things that are keeping you up at night that you shared can be destroyed and overcome by this dimension of creativity. And then Twyla Tharp, one of my favorite American modern dance icons, famously wrote in her book, The Creative Habit, that before you can think out of the box, you must start with the box. We must know the rules so that we can bend them and extend them. So wonder and rigor are copacetic. As I've written about, wonder is found in the midst of rigor, and rigor cannot be sustained without wonder. We will burn out if we also don't incorporate wonder and rigor. So we need both. So what's the net of all that I'm sharing here? Creativity is a productivity play. It's fundamental for your well-being. And who in this time of unprecedented levels of stress does not need to focus on their well-being? It's a competency. So it's something that you can exercise and get better at. And it's the engine for innovation. What I mean by that is that An innovation is an invention converted into scalable value. That could be social value, financial value, cultural value. But how do you go from a one-off invention to a scalable innovation? Creativity. Creativity is that conversion factor. So I want to equip you with a compass so that you can navigate this increasingly ambiguous, tumultuous terrain that we call life, that we call capital markets, that we call, building your organization, your team, right? I want to help you to win with wonder and to reimagine with rigor. And you can specifically really do that on February 6th in the upcoming new year. And I'll have more details on that after we do our exercise, because I want you to really be equipped to understand that creativity has an ROI, and I want you to be able to apply creativity's ROI in the boot camp that we're offering on February 6th. So here's the exercise. Now's the time, Tracy, if you would once again add the worksheet into the chat. Like I said, you can always use a blank piece of paper and a Sharpie. But here's what I want you to do. First, I want you to remember the following. Most breakthroughs do not start with answers. Most breakthroughs start with better questions, right? So if you want to break through the thing that's keeping you, your team, your organization up at night, what I want to help you to get better at is to get better at question framing. And you can get better at that with practice. So we're going to go through an exercise to help you do that. But first, I'm going to prime your mind to do that. So everyone in front of you, this is not a trick question. You can unmute yourself. What do you see?
An apple.
Yeah, an apple. Okay, thank you, Aria. An ordinary apple. What I would love for you to do is verbally, audibly, start by shouting out, sharing why questions about apples. And I'll start us off just to get us started. So, why are apples round? You can also drop your question into the chat. What are some other why questions you could pose about the ordinary apple? Why are apples round? What else? Why are they crispy? Love it. What else? Why do they have so many different flavors? Why do they vary in color? Beautiful questions. What's another question? Why is the skin different than the inside? Why are apples common in myths and folktales? Oh, I love that question. Why are some apples good and some not? Why do they seem to just fit perfectly in your hand? Oh, I never thought about it. That's a great question. Why do they have cores? Why are some sweeter than others? Beautiful. Okay, this is wonderful. Now, we're going to shift to what if questions. So we start out with why questions. Now we're going to shift to even bigger, what I call divergent questions, what if. So you could either build on some of the questions you see in the chat, or you can make up new what if questions. So I asked initially, why are apples round? I might follow that up with, what if apples were square shaped? What's another what if question? Please say audibly or add to the chat. What if they weren't fruit? Love it. What if apples were sour? What if they were salty? Cool. What if they had no seeds? What if they grew out of the ground instead of a tree? What if they all tasted the same? Ooh, boring. That would be a horrible, horrible day. Love it. Love it. Go on. What's two more what if questions? Two more what if questions. Either building on what you just saw in the why questions or a totally new question. What if they gave us magical power? Love that question. What if they were all one color? Love it. Okay, so what we've just done is we've posed a series of divergent questions. We started out with why questions, and we got even more expansive with what if questions. And now, oh, I like that. What if the apple was a vegetable? Good one. Now let's start to converge. And we're going to converge with posing some how questions. How might we, and you don't need to write how might we every single time. You could just abbreviate HMW. How might we design square apples in my line of questioning, right? But build on that. How, what's your more convergent question? How might we Add to the chat. How might we add more flavors? Yes. How might we eat the apple in one bite? Love it. Keep going. How about we grow apples in a different way? How about we grow apples with no seeds? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So what you just did was an exercise of priming your mind to not need to have the answer, but to ask a very different question. The reason why this is so important is that questions are inputs into a system. And the reason that matters is that when you start asking very different questions, you'll start getting very different outputs. So now go to your worksheet, and I'll share my screen again. I'm referring to this worksheet. And for the purposes of just the time limits we have together today, I'm going to give you 90 seconds, and I just want you to focus on what if questions. Would you pose 3 what if questions around what's keeping you up at night? So maybe at the top of the page, right up here underneath the words question storming, just write what is the topical area you're focused on. It could be breaking down silos. It could be about, green energy. It could be about incorporating AI, whatever it is, right? It could be about getting more rest, whatever it is. Please, in 90 seconds, I'm going to have my timer on, devise 3 what if questions I'm going to ask volunteers to share. Please finish up your thoughts. And I would love to have a few of you, if you don't mind, share your what if question either in the chat or audibly so we can all hear. What are some of your what if questions? Please share. So Megan, thank you for sharing. What if, oh, sorry, I'm missing these. Okay, so from Carolina, what if management can communicate better and actually be transparent in the decisions they're making? What if my manager had empathy? What if we as a team could influence the business? Really important questions. So Carolina, you're going to receive a tip sheet. Thank you for sharing. Megan, what if you designed a new session format? So Megan, you mean me or Megan? Is that which?
Me. So what if I,
What if you
not
design
you,
a new session
Natalie?
format? Awesome. And maybe there's something in the way I've designed this session that is helpful to you. Awesome. Thank you for that. Sarah, and thank Megan, you'll get a tip sheet. And Sarah, what if we implemented a standard process or procedures for staffing shows? What if project managers allowed themselves to let go of staffing? Ooh, that's provocative. Thank you for the first 3 who shared. You'll get a tip sheet from Tracy. What if our meetings were really productive and we understood each other's roles and responsibilities? What if we trusted each other? Love those questions. Those are real, and there's even more in the chat that you can all see. So these are really big, juicy questions. And what I would like to propose is that as I shared, that it's breakthroughs are going to start with you asking those very scary, seemingly insurmountable, hopefully juicy and exciting questions about seemingly insurmountable challenges. And if you want to get into the why, the background, the context to really unpack why that issue and that question really matters, and the how, right, the more of the rigor in addition to the wonder, I invite you to register for the WonderRigor Ideas Lab Bootcamp that's happening on February 6th from 12 to 3 Eastern Time. Now, the reason I'm offering this bootcamp is because I'm coming from 2 big assumptions. One of my assumptions is that major disruptive events in our world, either ecological events, natural environment events, geopolitical events, will continue to hammer us at a really fast clip. The other assumption that I have about why this Ideas Lab matters so much for you right now is that algorithmic science will continue to develop and evolve at a really fast clip. And so the tech crush that we have and our need to incorporate all this technology requires that we have a very different mindset or that we're equipped with very different sorts of tools. So there's 2 major outcomes of the February 6th bootcamp. Number 1, you're going to get a lot of aha moments and a lot of insights, not just from me, but from the other attendees and participants in this boot camp. It's going to be a co-created, co-learning environment. And the beauty of all of you coming from a range of industries and sectors and backgrounds is a huge bonus to what you'll gain. The second thing you'll get is something very practical. You're going to be equipped with a really new and different toolkit based on the principles I've developed around wonder and rigor to help you consistently and sustainably innovate. And more specifically, here's what you'll gain. You're going to get this practical toolkit to go from an idea into action. You're going to be able to break through stagnation and build your creative confidence. You'll shift to being a standout creator instead of just a copy paster or a fixer, right? You're also going to master the WonderRigor framework. You'll get personalized action steps to navigate this next year. You'll be part of a community that fosters innovation. You're going to gain accountability and live interactivity with yours truly. So I will be present for all of that. And because it's the holiday season and I'm in a particularly giving and grateful space, I would like to offer you a gift. If you decide, if this makes sense for you, to register by this Friday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we're offering a 50% discount. Tracy's going to share momentarily what that looks like to get that discount, just on a practical level, what the registration page looks like. You're going to use a code LEAP50, just as you see it on the screen. If you want to take a screenshot of this, please go ahead. Of course, you could wait. And if you wait until the end of the year, by December 31st, we're offering a 25% discount off of the regular price for this boot camp of $995. So Tracy, let me allow you to share your screen so that you can show everyone not just where to enter the payment code, but a nice way to pay over time as well, if that's helpful.
Exactly. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming. So I just put into the chat this link to the Figure Eight Thinking WonderRigor Ideas Lab landing page. I wanted to show you this because it gives you more information about the event. And as you scroll through, you can read more. If you come here and click on the registration, when you register for the webinar, and you click register now, it will take you to our checkout page. And this is what I really wanted to show, where you add the promo code here, which is LEAP50. Click apply, and then you see the 50% discount. And also we have the payment side over here where you just fill out this information. And I just wanted to bring everyone's attention to this Affirm here, because as you know, with many of you have probably used Affirm to pay for things over the years. So you can also break this down into monthly payments as it shows here. So as you log in, I just wanted to make sure everyone took note of this Affirm and where to put the QR code. If you have any questions, let me know. Just put it in the chat.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Awesome. So that's what we really wanted to share. So you've gotten a preview through the question storming worksheet, and you can always follow up with me. My email is natalie@figure8thinking.com. Tracy's email, Tracy's will probably put in the chat, is tracie@figure8thinking.com. I'm so grateful to you for taking some time out of your day to hear more about why I am such an advocate of every one of us building a creative capacity. And I love to help facilitate that in your work and in your life. So thank you so much, everyone. Great to spend some time with you, and hope to see you on February 6th at the boot camp. Take good care. Bye.